Hi, and welcome to a really quick video on frequency tables. Of all the easy topics GCSEs, this one I see most people sort of forgetting how to do and sort of making silly mistakes. So I'm going to quickly go over the basics of these questions. So frequency tables look like this. You basically have some sort of category. This could be an actual number, or it could be a range of numbers. So it's distance, then a frequency, which is how many times that number appeared. So this 9 means we had 9 numbers between 400 and 450. What we're going to do is work an estimate for the mean and the median distance. So to work out the mean, what we typically do is add up all the numbers and divide by how many there are. Let's write that down. And on a frequency table, this isn't obvious or easy really to work out. How many there are is probably the easiest to work out. This part here. We can get that just by adding together all the frequencies. So if we do 9 plus 15 plus 12 plus 4, that'll give you the total number of lorries or trips that have been taken. This comes out to being 40, and in this question, and quite a lot of questions, you are given that fact. So we know it's going to be the total divided by 40, because Alice in this question, it took 40 trips. We now need to work out how many miles, or what's the total distance travelled. We do this by looking at each row one at a time. So these questions fall into two categories, both of them look fairly similar. The easier ones is when you're just given a number. So if you're just given 400, if we had 9 400 times, over here to work out the total of those 9 trips, you would do 400 times 9. However, in this case, we've got 400 to 450. So what we do to make an estimate is we take the midpoints. Okay, so we know she's gone from 400 to 450. We're going to assume on average she went 45, which is halfway between 400 and 450. And we do the same for the rest of the columns, or rows I should say. And we can work out the midpoints. What we're now going to do, we normally do these two things times together, but because we don't have a whole number for the distance, we're going to add an extra column, which is going to be midpoint times frequency. And then you can just work them out. So here, you would have 45 times 9. For the next one, we would have 475 times 15, because each trip was roughly 475 miles, and she took 15 of them. And we keep going through. Again, all these questions tend to be with a calculator anyway, so it's not too hard to work these numbers out. And what we've worked out here is we've worked out the total for each row. So basically all these trips totaled to 3825. We want the grand total, so we need to add up this column as well, to add up all the numbers. So all the numbers you've worked out, we had 3825 plus 7125 plus 6300 plus 2300. So the overall total miles, or the estimate for it, is 19,550. We then work out the mean quite easy now. The total is this number here, and she took 40 trips. And then just go to your calculator, type that in, and that'll work it out for you. So the estimate for the mean is this number here. And again, it's only an estimate because we took these midpoints. We don't have the exact values, that's why it's an estimate working out. It doesn't mean estimate any of the values, it just means you have to take the midpoints, so it's not an exact answer. Okay, that's the mean. We also want to look at the median. So the median is the middle number, and we're going to use a formula to work this out. So let's just say we had 11 numbers. And if they're in a list, it's really easy to work out the median. You just end up crossing them off from top to bottom until we meet in the middle. Okay, and in this case, the middle is going to be 6, which was the 6th number. To work out the median, we basically want the half value, but it's not quite the half value. The formula to work it out is you have n, which is the number of items in your list, in this case was 11. You then add 1 to it, and then divide it by 2. And that will work out the median. So here we had 11 values. 11 plus 1 is 12, divided by 2 is 6, which means the sixth value is the median. And this form we need to remember, and we're going to use this in this question to work out the median. So we're told that Alice took 40 trips. So in this case, her median is going to be 40 plus 1, or 41, and then divided by 2, which gives us 20.5. That means we want to find the 20.5 value. Okay, and what we're going to do, we're not going to find the exact value, we're going to find which class it's in, which group of these distances is it in. Okay, so on the 20.5, so we know the first 9 values take me from 400 to 450. The next 15 values take me from 450 to 500. That means in total, if you add these together, what's called a cumulative frequency, we've had 24 values so far. Okay? We wanted the 20.5 value, so that means it's going to be somewhere in here. Okay? If you here we had values from 0 to 9, here we then had values from 10 to 24, and the next would be 25 to 37, and so on and so forth. Okay? So that means the 20.5 value was in this group here, so therefore the median is just going to be that distance here. Again, we don't have an exact value, so we can just leave it in this form here. Occasionally when it comes to more advanced stuff, we do find the median exactly, or a better estimate for it. For the time we're going to leave it as that value here. Just one more example. So here we've got a table of 41 teachers. Okay. Part A, we want to find the class interval that contains the median. So the formula was n plus 1 over 2. There are 41 teachers, add 1 is 42, 42 divided by 2 is 21. So we want to find the 21st teacher. And we then want to find whereabouts in this list is that guy hiding. So we can add something, which is called the cumulative frequency. This is basically a running total. So here you've got 14, then it's 14 plus 13, then it's 14 plus 13 plus 8, then 14 plus 13 plus 8 plus 4, and when all these are added together. We want to find where the 21st guy is going to be, and hopefully you can see he's going to be in this region here. Because in this region we had too few teachers, and by the time we finish the region we've now got too many. So somewhere in these 13 teachers there was a 21st teacher. So it says write down the class interval, that's just this thing here. So you can just copy it down, and this basically means somewhere between 10 and 20. We now want to work out an estimate for the mean. We must show all our work in. And the mean, we do the same thing. So again, we've got a range of values. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the midpoint. So the midpoint is halfway between 0 and 10, halfway between 10 and 20, and so on and so forth. What we then want to do, we then want to work out the total for each row. So we're going to do the midpoint times by the number of teachers. So that means 14 teachers have been teaching for 0 to 10 years. So we assume an average that took 5 years, so we then do 14 times 5. And we're then going to do the same for each of these columns, doing the midpoint times the frequency or the number of teachers. And that will let us work out the overall total, which of course we need for the mean. Let's work these out. So 14 times 5 is 70. Adding everything, I don't use a calculator, I think. We've then got 15 times 13 is 195. 25 times 8 is 200. 35 times 4 is 140. And 45 times 2 is 90. Okay. So again, to work out the mean, we want the total, and we then want to divide that by how many teachers. So the total is going to be all these little totals added together. So each of these numbers, the 50, the 195, the 200, that represents the total for each row. So this row have taught for a combined total of 200 years. So the overall total is all these added together. So 70 plus 195 plus 200 plus 140 plus 90. And how many teachers? That was 41. We're told that in the question. Okay, you could also just add up all these numbers together, it would also give you 41 if you're not given that information. So therefore, to work out the mean, we just do 695 divided by 41, which comes out as 16.9512. For most questions, that's fine, leaves an answer. Occasionally we'll ask you to round it, in which case you typically want to round to three significant figures. So to three significant figures, that would be 17.0. Although unless you're asked to round, you don't need to. You can just leave the full answer the calculator is given you. Okay, that's it. So fairly straightforward what to do, but of all the topics, that's where I see the most mistakes. Good luck, and I hope this helped.